Hey there, I'm Erin from Nubby Notes, and today, past Erin will be showing you how I decorated my graduate cap, while current Erin talks to you about all of her fears. For a little context, I graduated in May of this year, but I didn't go to my graduation, so this was my way of celebrating. Just as a little disclaimer before we start, this video is very different from my other videos, so if you don't want to hear about a stranger talk about some of her fears in life, this is probably not the video for you. But thank you anyways for stopping by. I'm treating this video kind of more like a visual podcast, where I just kind of word vomit all of my fears to you. So apologies in advance if it comes off a bit rambly. I tend to ramble when I don't really have a set script that I'm speaking from. So to keep the video as straight and to the point as I can, I'll try to split up the video into two parts. For the first part of the video, I'll be talking a little bit about myself and also about the fears that I have in pursuing a creative dream. And for the second part of the video, I'll be talking about the things that I know about myself personally that make it worthwhile to pursue that dream anyways. So I guess with that, we'll just dive right in. I started Nubby Notes back in 2020 at the same time that I had started my graduate program. You're probably thinking that, Erin, that's not the greatest time to be starting a small business, and I past Erin didn't realize that, but current Erin realizes that was a huge undertaking. So yeah, I understand that starting my business at the same time of my degree is not the greatest, but I guess inside of my head I just thought, if not now, then when? Ever since middle school, it's really always been a dream of mine to share the things that I craft or the things that I create online, whether that be through social media or on YouTube. But it really wasn't until I realized that you can get monetized and you can have a full-time career off just being creative that I really wanted to pursue it. That's the dream, to be able to be full-time with all of my crafty endeavors. But I'm a big scaredy cat, so I like to play it safe, and I'm very realistic when it comes to realizing if my career will be something that's financially stable for me. So I didn't really pursue it until I had the proof, because I'm a coward, but I guess that's all right. And there's this really indescribable feeling when I realized that people like my work, and they decided to follow me on social media or purchase things from my shop, and it felt really validating to know that, hey, maybe I can do this. I know that you hear that a lot in people talking about their, I guess, origin stories of their small businesses and their creative endeavors, but it really is just like an indescribable feeling, because at least for me, it felt like I wasn't able to do those types of things, that maybe I wasn't as creative as I thought, and maybe people wouldn't have liked the things that I made. I don't think my family intended to plant this seed in my head, but they're also extremely realistic, and even though they were supportive, they would always question me about, what do you plan on doing with this? So whenever I would show my progress and the work that I was posting on Instagram, or explaining my plans for starting a YouTube channel and things like that, they would tell me, well, what does that mean? What are you supposed to do with that? Is that going to be your career? You can't waste your time on crafts and things like that. So I guess it really kind of developed this kind of deep-rooted fear of pursuing creativity in like a full-time space. And I'm assuming that their fears also came from just like my degree being so different from my creative endeavors. So I guess I'll just explain what my degree is in. I graduated with a master's degree in speech language pathology, which is just a fancy way of saying speech therapy. Needless to say, it's very different from the content that I post here on YouTube and on social media, just because my interests lie kind of all over the place. Not to say that I don't enjoy speech therapy, it's just that if I was able to make creative endeavors and all of the things that I create and craft into a full-time career, that would honestly be the dream. But the realist in me also likes just having that cushion of speech therapy just in case my creative endeavors kind of fall through. So the fears that I have in pursuing a creative dream kind of stem from 3 different things. The first being, I guess, the worries and the doubts that my loved ones and my family have kind of shared with me. And the second being my own self-doubt as a creator and whether or not I can actually be a full-time creative and kind of live off the things that I create and make. And then the third fear, I guess, being afraid of not really reaching my potential. And what I mean by that is just kind of feeling like I don't really know what I should be doing, and I don't really know what I want to be doing. And it gets tough to know what, I guess, the quote-unquote right thing to do is, but I'm slowly learning that there isn't a right thing. It's just whatever works best for you individually. And I don't like that answer. I wish that there was just a one set rule, like, okay, take this route and everything will be fine. But that's just not how life works, apparently. So I'm out here trying to figure out what works best for me while trying not to let my fears get the best of me. And don't get me wrong, there are fears that are pretty productive and helpful in just helping us to give us that push to do the things that are important and kind of keep us out of trouble for certain things. So I don't want to say that every fear is a bad fear. Just the really unproductive fears. I have a lot of junk in my head of, thoughts like, you're not going to make it. Nobody likes your work. People are only liking you because they don't really like your work. It's just out of pity. Those types of thoughts, that kind of junk is really not productive. And just trying to tune those fears out and not necessarily the fears of, will I be able to make next month's rent or things like that. And I'm sorry if I'm making all of this sound lighthearted. That's not my intention. I just tend to laugh when I'm nervous, so apologies for that. So I guess with that, we'll kind of segue into the second part of the video, which is just the things that I know about myself personally that make it worth it for me to want to keep trying to pursue a creative dream. These are the things that really just work for me, so I don't know if they'll work for you. Maybe they will, but I don't know. I'm just a girl on YouTube, so just take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. So when I look at a creative dream and I split it up into the fears that I have versus the reasons why it's okay for me to pursue it, I kind of come up with this pros and cons list. And for me, there are 3 things that I know about myself that make it okay for me to want to pursue that creative dream. The first one being I like doing it. I like creating. I like crafting. I think that even if I wasn't on social media, even if I wasn't posting videos on YouTube, I would still be crafting and creating. It's just that release that I need. It kind of just makes me feel at peace. It kind of just makes me feel like myself. So I enjoy it enough to do it outside of a space where I'm sharing it with, I guess, the internet and sharing it with like a community. So knowing that kind of makes it feel like it's okay. It's okay for me to continue pursuing it because I would be doing it anyway, so why not document it? The second thing I know about myself is that I can see all the progress that I've made. It's been really nice to be on Instagram because it's kind of like a gallery, so I can see where I started and where I'm at now, and I really see that progress, and it's surprising to me to have that. So I'm curious to know what it's like if I keep pushing myself, if I keep trying to do new things, if I keep trying to create. So that kind of drives me, it kind of motivates me to want to keep trying. And the last thing I know about myself is that there's a part of me that believes that I'll be able to do it, that I'll be able to create a full-time career off my crafty endeavors. And most people don't really know me. I'm pretty new to, I guess, social media, new to YouTube and all of that jazz. But I'm a pretty pessimistic person. I don't really believe in a whole lot of stuff. I was talking a bit before. I'm a lot of a realist. So I guess for me, realism and pessimism kind of just fall into the same group. So I'm usually the one that will say, no, this isn't going to work out. But the fact that I have a part of me that believes that this is possible, even remotely possible, it makes me want to keep trying. If any of this resonated with you, feel free to let me know down in the comments. And thank you so much for watching.